Welcome back to République.
Well done, both of you. Head to the door marked Control. I'm just putting the finishing touches on our first article now. Should have it up over the wire shortly.
We've made great strides towards our goal of being able to remove 2 guards from in front of an elevator without getting our hands dirty. And yet I can't help but feel a little unclean. What you gonna do? Our path is leading us through an area ominously named Control.
These nasty little mines, affectionately called sleepyheads, can really interrupt a Prizrak's patrol path. Something for the girl to keep in mind. I mean mind.
I honestly don't know why they bother with sleeping gas when they can just use Cooper's puns. Well, whatever. This is the point in the game at which you're, quote, supposed, unquote, to find sleep mines.
I'll take this.
But we were diligent in our backtracking, so we've got a couple already. That said though, we're already running up against our inventory limit. And there's still a sleep mine left in that box. So the decision to test one out against Robert Rip the Hammer Pearsall the Narcoleptic remains tactically sound. He's even nice enough to walk in a nice predictable and exploitable figure of 8 pattern. This makes it basically trivial to trap him. Using a sleep mine is as straightforward as pressing a button to drop one where Hope is standing. Unfortunately, there's one thing I've forgotten to take into consideration, which is that I am a moron. Here I press a button, somehow, and drop an extra mine. Then I walk right in front of the guy and get spotted and have to spend a few seconds panicking before thinking to flee into the nearby confinement room.
Can't hide from us.
Naturally, this act of tactical brilliance also messes with the guard's pathing such that he returns to his cycle on a point right after he would have trodden on a mine.
Don't make me call you.
Well, geez, Hope, maybe you'd find it more exciting if I made you walk in front of a guard. Again. So, sleep mines kinda rule. They take effect instantaneously, they have a little area of effect, so if you're really good you can nail multiple guards with them. And also, they cause any inventory the guards are carrying to teleport directly into your pockets. So that's pretty sweet overall. Oh, and right, there's absolutely no defense against them. There isn't like a helmet or an arc suit equivalent or something.
What's yours is mine.
Absolutely every guard in the game is vulnerable to these things. Even the 2 guys by the elevator, but I guess we aren't supposed to think about that too much.
I can't carry anymore.
Of course not. Anyway, the inventory limit for sleep mines is 3, like pepper spray. And deploying the extra one was not the tactical catastrophe that you might think, because we can pick them up.
My pockets are full.
And yet somehow I bet you'd still make room for a taser.
Listen to me, Sullivan. I want you to reopen the case against 933W, the one who called himself Weep. And don't tell me again you got more important things to do. His little honeypot is wandering the halls as we speak. Catch the sparrow, and you'll coax the raven out of his nest. Provided the boy is still alive.
It's been a while since we last heard anything about Weep. I guess it's some comfort that the Prizrak are about as up on the case as we are. Anyway, purple camera icons are a thing. And they just let us look into other cameras remotely. I guess Sullivan really was getting on the case. Because this is Weep's dorm room.
Dear Headmaster, By the time you read this, I will have escaped. My mind is set on it. This place of yours is pure mathematical evil. You think that we're all ones and zeros, but we're not. And more of us every day are beginning to see through your lies about the outside. Once, you had me. I believed in you. In metamorphosis. When I was a child, I dreamed of joining the Prizrak. You should have let me. Now, it's too late. If you see 390H, tell her she has my heart. I'm coming back for it someday. Sincerely, 933W.
Well, we can say this much. The guy had intentions. Whether or not he was successful in following them through, it's still open.
Who is it? Who is it? Hope? Hello? Is anyone there? What the... Who left this? This is not a manifesto. The propaganda machine is a well-oiled piece of hardware. Dissection rooms?
What are you doing?
Reading his manifesto.
Lights out.
Incidentally, this here manifesto confirms that it is canon that all of the precals know which guards are carrying which video games. I'm sure that must be useful.
What is this? Your boyfriend's mixtape?
No, sir. It's a Zeger cassette. He addresses the precals.
What do you mean?
The rant. Zeger, on the tape. He addresses Weep personally.
Who the hell is Weep?
I mean the 933W. Do you want to listen to it? It might be useful.
Personally, I'd rather listen to Murray talk than hear whatever's on that tape.
Yes, sir.
Just bag it up.
I wonder where this tape went.
He didn't need any encouragement. He had it in his mind to escape this place, long before Zager first talked about revolution.
The game is never completely explicit about exactly when Weep's escape happened relative to the events of the game, but there are going to be a couple of context pieces that allow us to get a pretty good idea of when. We'll have a much better idea of this in a couple more minutes. Spoiler alert. Lately I've gotten into the habit of saving combing through our video game and book collections for the end of episodes, but for reasons that will make sense in a couple of minutes, I'm going to go and look at our most recent acquisition right now.
I know it's ironic, but I have banned my fellow Prizrak from playing Towerfall. In the free world, Towerfall is the perfect recipe for a great party. In Metamorphosis, it's fodder for Derringer to crash your raucous party and send your guests home with permanent reprimands. If pure, unadulterated fun has a direct correlation to financial success, Matt Thorson will be richer than a Finnish free-to-play CEO.
Ultimately, it would be another couple of years before Matt Thorson would set the gaming world on fire with Celeste, and claim the surprisingly competitive title of Best Uncompromisingly Challenging 2018 Game with a surprisingly emotionally affecting plot about bettering yourself and climbing a mountain. Take that, God of War. Now, let's stroll through this completely unremarkable door.
You and the girl have reached a part of the facility even I have never seen before. I've heard only whispered rumors and half-truths about what goes on up there. Hang on. I'm being called away from my desk. I hope to return shortly. Be careful out there. Cooper out.
And just like that, Cooper has left us. The help desk button does nothing. Clicking on video games does nothing. What a tragedy. I like to imagine the narrative implication of this being that every time we opened the inventory screen and clicked on a video game, Hope was actually just calling up Cooper and chatting to him about nerd shit.
I'll hold on to this.
He absolutely would be the type. This room is an enormous pain. There's 2 patrolling arc Prizracs and just enough gaps in the cover that it can be kind of daunting and unpredictable to make your way across. Also, the help desk button is now gone entirely, just to drive that point home.
Citizens of Metamorphosis, this is Matty Sade with the Morning Bell Online Edition. Tonight's breaking news concerns one of our most elite Prizrak, a man entrusted to stand watch over us, to protect us at all costs. But now, this Prizrak, Edwin Chung, is charged with criticism of our dear Overseer, a most grave offence. We at the Morning Bell Online Edition will continue our up-to-the-minute coverage as we learn more. Thank you, and watch your step.
Well, for better or worse, Matty came through. And yes, she actually will record a different and unique report for each one of the actual accusations that you can make. So, you know, that's nice. Unlike this room, have I mentioned my dislike of this room yet? I feel like I should mention my dislike of this room a bit more. Anyway, as if it couldn't get any worse, these 2 guards have patrol routes of slightly differing length, so they will get out of sync and it's kind of difficult to come up with good loops. You really do have to just kind of fudge your way through this. Also, yeah, there's some stuff on the walls. Things are happening. Exactly what the things that are happening are and what they have to do with the pyramid in the ocean I couldn't tell you, but things are happening.
After tonight, they will travel to us. Most of them. You see, in spite of our efforts for propaganda and paper messaging, there remains dark heart mid-all. Faction that will not work.
Seriously, just wall-to-wall things happening.
Tonight's list?
For your eyes only, sir.
I see Mireille Prideaux's name is absent.
Sir, I have reason to believe the mentor has not been completely forthcoming with us.
You think she's dangerous?
I think she could harm the arrival, yes. In fact, I think those are her intentions.
I always anticipated a certain degree of pushback, if not outright sedition, but not from her. This one stings at the heart. Oh, I hate this music. My goodness, it's really coming down, isn't it?
There's a storm moving in from the northeast. We're tracking it.
I hope it doesn't upend the arrival.
I hope it's not one and the same.
Derringer, we spotted 390 in the atrium, second floor. Watch the steps.
Roger that.
Problem?
No problem. Just business as usual. But I'm afraid I'll have to catch up with you later.
I see. Watch your step tonight.
You too, sir.
As is typical, it's hard to be certain exactly when this conversation happened, although I want to say it happened round about the start of episode 2.
Means of control. But the arrival is not about strong-arm tactics. We'll leave that.
Can't believe you dragged me out of there. You see the look on his face?
We might have a security breach. Someone just accessed both the Atlantic and Pacific server rooms.
Okay, well, we'll just trace it.
I did. It was Matty Sade's card.
Morning Bell. Okay, she's allowed.
Yeah, but why tonight? Eve of the arrival. Doesn't that seem weird to you?
After what he's preaching in there, I don't think anything's weird anymore.
I believe monopolies reign as philosopher kings once reigned.
You're not helping me.
Here, have another cup.
I'm gonna be up all night.
We all will. Stay on it. Bird dog it. I'm sure it's nothing, though.
This one, though, can't have been more than a couple of minutes. The headmaster is still giving that speech, although knowing him, maybe it's hours long.
Then I must remember to temper this enthusiasm for fluid grams,
We've got too much inflow. Where are we storing all this data?
It's just runoff from Terminus.
Runoff to where? Is there another server room I'm not aware of?
It's not really a room.
What is it then? What the hell's backing up an extra 30 zettabytes? What?
It's above your pay grade. And mine.
Look away from me.
A zettabyte, incidentally, is 10 to the 21 bytes, or 1 billion terabytes, or 10 billion copies of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Overseer? Sir, I have Vice Admiral Matthews on the non-dial.
This one?
Yeah, the second one.
Tragler's off.
Vice Admiral. The magnet sticks to what it knows.
The needle always gets to the point.
Go ahead.
Ledbetter 10620 overcoat 20. 3.
Wakefield 8847 overcoat.
Wait 3 seconds. Okay, go secure.
Avalon 127. We're secure.
This better be important. I have a fleet to attend to.
Yes, about that, Richard. I believe you might have overdone it.
What are you talking about?
That shiny flotilla surrounding our satellite shows 3 battle cruisers, a frigate.
How the hell are you seeing that?
Who do you think I am? Listen to me, sir. Remove those ships. Makes my people uneasy.
Which people are you referring to?
Tomorrow at the arrival, we expect a modest welcome party, not an army.
We're the Navy.
Pennies or pounds, either way, I don't care for it. Now, if you'll excuse me, Admiral, I have rather important business to attend to.
Hey, you called me. No, he hung up on me.
It strikes me that we've never directly addressed the issue of, given this game's framing narratively, how it is that we're hearing these conversations by scanning these objects. And I'm still not going to. However, I am going to note that we started that recording listening in on Treglazov's side, and we finished it listening on Vice Admiral Matthews' side. That's kind of weird, right?
Gentlemen, this is Quinn Derringer, Chief of PrisRack. You may notice some of my men sweeping the operations center prior to the arrival. Now they know not to touch anything valuable, but let them do their work and give those rooms a clean bill of health before our overseer gets up there later tonight for his briefing.
Going by the amount of muffled waffle we've heard coming through that door, I have to question whether or not Treglazov really understands what's meant to be achieved at a briefing. Well, anyway, we're out of opportunities to stall, and now I'm going to have to consider how to get through this room. I think for a bit, and then decide to wait for an appropriate opening to stroll in here and just drop a sleep mine. Seriously, these things are unbelievably handy. Then we just hang back and wait for nature to take its course.
Did I lose you?
Hope. Whatever. Anyway, I've never been one for suboptimal play, so the obvious next move is to backtrack into the armory and refill our sleep mine inventory. Now, you'd think the sight of an incapacitated fellow guard would have caused more of an uproar in this room, but I guess the AI just doesn't extend that far. Now, there are a number of what I'm going to term conventional means that we could use to get past the one remaining guard, but I've got a much funnier idea. Note the very nonchalant use of a sleep grenade. Sleep grenades make the enemy actually kind of a threat. Anyway, when you get caught in this game, you are escorted.
Is there another way to open this door?
Conscious or otherwise, to the nearest confinement room. You will have all of your stuff, other than key items, confiscated, which kinda sucks. And you will have to break Cope out, which is not an enormously challenging proposition given that we can employ hacks. This is kind of a slap on the wrist in game terms, because you can try this as many times as you like. There's no penalty for getting caught, you know, other than the confiscation. And as we can see, we've actually been taken closer to our objective rather than further away from it. So, you know, that's pretty handy.
Good idea. My battery was running low.
There does, however, remain the small issue of the small armoury of less than lethal ordnance that we were carrying when we were apprehended. That's kind of a thing.
What were they working on in there?
You can probably guess that you can get all of these things back by pickpocketing the guard who arrested you. This is of course much easier if, say, his friend has recently trodden on a sleep mine. Far too late it occurs to me that maybe I could have gotten through this room straight after planting a sleep mine by just walking into the path of one of the guards. Maybe I could have even gotten very lucky and had the guard who arrested me later go on to walk on that sleep mine. Like, how great would have that been? Incidentally, what happened to the body? Ah well, video games, huh? Well, with all that high drama out of the way, we're not nearly done poking around yet.
I'll hold on to this.
Station 16, this is Madame Prideaux. Close the investigation on Precal 390H. I've chosen not to recalibrate her at this time.
Negative, Madame. I can't let you authorize that.
What?
You've been downgraded to reliability status pending review.
Absurd!
Maybe, but you can't make changes to a pre-cal status until someone reinstates your security clearance.
This is Mireille Prideaux, and I am giving you a direct order. Close the file on the girl, or I will come up there and do it myself.
Well, that's just it. You can't get up here, Madame.
Amusing as it is to keep hearing about Mireille's terrible day, I'm fascinated by the choice of spelling of Madame in the subtitles. Like, they spelled it like the expletive. Even though he was really just using the French pronunciation, but, like, ironically or something. Anyway, here we have the chance to once again investigate Hope's room, and there's, like, new dialogue here, somehow.
Hello? Hello? How does this work?
The books were not here an hour ago. I dissected every precal on this hall.
This conversation happened literally moments before the start of the game, and therefore gives us a timeline. This establishes that Weep was still here about an hour before the game began, and was gone afterwards.
Good evening, citizens of Metamorphosis. From where I sit, I behold a shimmering panorama, upset only by the most magnificent island in the sun. Upon its silken shores lie opportunities to a happiness old world man could have never imagined. Adventures on a scale so grand, they would stop the hearts of history's boldest dreamers. We are nearly there. But the wind has never been in our favor. So we must power our own conveyance. The arrival is near, my friends. Now is not the time to draw in the oars. Now is the time to row mightily, to move swiftly until the topmast splinters overhead and the white-capped violence of their filthy ocean bows in apology. Citizens, row for me tonight, and I promise you by dawn we will arrive.
You've got to wonder sometimes how this must sound to the pre-cals.
This was tonight. The last moment of calm before the chaos. Poison manifestos started appearing at our doorsteps only minutes later.
There does, however, seem to be an inconsistency regarding when exactly the Poison manifestos started showing up. We've just heard that they've barely been here for an hour at the start of the game, but Weep is clearly implied to have read it already. Maybe he had a prototype.
Let go of me! This isn't my room. This isn't my room! This isn't me! This doesn't look like me!
Madam, is she...
She's fine. A side effect of recalibration. Nothing more.
This isn't me! No! This isn't me!
She's gonna break that mirror.
Then it's her bad luck. Get in there before she cuts herself. And have Cooper replace the mirror.
Oh, right. Did you forget recalibration was a thing? Well, we're still not going to find out exactly what the hell it actually is, but, you know, it's still obviously pretty bad news. Also, remember this box? We've got loose ends all over the place. Now, it's possible that you might be about to notice a flawlessly timed but ultimately very obvious jump cut in the next couple of seconds, but if you could just all agree that it didn't happen and that I never ever forget anything, that would be great.
Calm down. Calm down. Or I'll have to take you.
A mystery is solved and another takes its place. All this poking and perusing and wondering is great, but it does kind of detract from the game's attempts at maintaining any kind of a sense of narrative urgency here, and I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it's worth it.
The news spreads fast in here.
The fact that the Morning Bell has an online edition suggests that they have a 24-hour news coverage capability, but one wonders if there's really enough of anything down here to have 24 hours worth of news every day. The things you wind up contemplating in a slow-paced stealth game. I have all sorts of good ideas for getting through this room. Let's try one of them out. Good start. Well, I'm still gonna have to pickpocket that guy later, but, you know, otherwise, still good.
over there.
A cassette.
Well, we're spotted again, but we got the tape. And here comes another perfect crime.
That's strange.
Let's see what he's carrying. I got some. Oh, no.
See, now I think that's just a little bit bullshit.
Prisrack, he
I've
spotted
captured
me.
3908.
Yeah, no such luck. Should have paid more attention to the equipment. So yeah, if you do get captured and you're not actively knocked out, you have to watch the entire perp walk the whole way back to the nearest confinement room.
Captive is in confinement.
Anyway, here's the exact point where all of our stuff gets nicked. Notably, we can pause time while hacking. Remember that? Unfortunately, the button to unlock the door doesn't appear until the guard has fully left the room. So, we can't go full hilarity here. But, nevertheless, we can enforce a little lesson on the guards that if they are going to put us in prison, they should probably knock us out first. Otherwise,
Going in for the steal.
well, I don't know what the hell else they could possibly expect to happen. But here we are.
Nice.
Moron. Notably, while all that was going down, the news updated.
Hello again. This is Matty Sade with the Morning Bell Online Edition. The plot thickens, as now a second Prisrack, David Bowen, faces disturbing charges involving criticism of our overseer. Stay tuned for further updates.
I'm not completely sure why the scoop on Chung came out before the scoop on Bowen, but whatever. They do both come out. So that's nice. Now let's try this again. Oh, what the... Oh, right. I'm clever, I swear. Notably, enemies do have actual priorities. They won't just drop a pursuit of you if they hear a noise. Once they've lost you, though...
Bring up the threat level.
Let's go for the steal. Got it.
Well, I can't say that this was the masterful approach to clearing this room that I had in mind, but you know what? It'll do. And with that, we're more or less in the clear. You might recognise the decor in this room.
Did we make it through?
It would seem so. This concludes our tour for the evening. Did I mention you exit through the gift shop? Go to the door marked Sanctuary. My gift to you is the prompt arrest of Edwin Chung and David Bowen. You're welcome.
Yup, it's Terminus again. You'll note that there is a single level 4 door here that isn't the one that we have to go through to reach the objective. But all things in due time. Let's go and see what Maddie's got in store for us.
I see the lynch mob still milling about down there.
I'm so sorry. I apologize for whatever I'm accused of. I'm sorry. Please, just send me home.
Ain't apologizing.
I don't even know what I did.
You criticized the overseer. What about you? What do you have to say for yourself? Smart man. You could learn something from this man.
They could be here all night. Huh. I have an idea. Quinn, it's Matty.
Miss Say, to what do I owe this pleasure?
Is this a bad time?
Not at all. Just had to step out of the confessional box.
Well, when you finish down there, come see me. I have some sins of my own I'd like to confess.
Yeah, I'll, give me a minute. What are we still doing here, huh? Come on, people. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Get these two delinquents down to processing. No, you stay here. Man this post. There's still a pre-cal at large. You can't have it getting up to the garden.
Oh, I should have expected the changing of the guard. Okay, no problem. We'll just give this new Prizrak a dose of the same medicine. I'll scan his ID number, and the two of you head to the room marked Dissection 1. We'll surveil his private quarters, see if we can't find something incriminating in there.
Well, shit. Notably, our new friend doesn't seem to have a passport. So that's something. So anyway, yeah. Tack-sharp, scruple-lacking investigative journalist Matty Sade somehow didn't manage to predict that if you remove the two guards who are guarding the way out of Metamorphosis, that they might be replaced by another guard. Like, she just totally did not see that coming. Maybe it's the alcohol getting to her.
In the interest of time, we'll need something more compelling than contraband or criticism. Bring the hammer down swiftly. Frame this Prizrak for tasing Mireille. After all, someone did it. Who's to say it wasn't him? Access the monitor. I'll log you in.
Quick poke around first.
Brave Prizrak, relieved to be alive. New details leaked in kidnapping plot.
Again, don't worry about how you're presented. We control the narrative. You just describe your experience to me.
Okay, so... Like I was, I thought I heard something suspicious outside the reading room.
Suspicious how?
Suspicious, like... I don't know, like it was talking.
Like someone talking to themselves?
Yeah, and I'd known from our briefings that Zager's crazy and he talks to himself a lot, so I thought, maybe it could be him.
I see. I'd like to ask you about something else.
I know what you're going to ask me.
There's a rumor.
Absolutely not.
Not even a little. It's a natural human reaction.
Look, if anyone in that room pissed themselves, it was Zager when he saw it broken free.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything.
No, I'm done. This interview's over.
If Matty put even half of the talent into helping us escape that she obviously used to write this headline, we could probably be out of here already. I mean, come on, look at it. It's beautiful. Alright, to work. For all the urgency, this is really just verse 3, same as the second.
Attention
Attention! At ease. Hello, young man. May I come in?
Yes, sir.
How are you finding your new surroundings?
Very accommodating, sir.
I see you have been outfitted with the Prizrak arsenal.
Yes, sir.
In dealing with cargo, as precious as the precals, it is important to maintain a gentle hand, hence these more encouraging instruments. Oh, this is a fine taser you have. Good deterrent to fits of rebellion, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir.
Do not lose it. And never, ever turn it toward your superiors.
Oh boy.
Good find. You're old hat at this by now.
Hey, Mom, it's me. I don't know what time it is where you are, because I don't even know where I am. I'm calling you from the satellite phone Uncle Connor gave me. You were right. I should have listened to you. This whole thing, this place, I get it now. There's order in the universe, but at a cost I can't afford. I just want to leave. I just want to leave. Murray and Derringer each have an arm, and they're pulling me in opposite directions. I had a dream where they actually did this, and then fought each other with my torn off limbs. I should shut up. I love you. I miss you. I miss the earth. I don't even consider this place to be part of it. Bye.
Kinda generically damning, but not exactly red hot this, is it?
That one could come in handy. What else?
Hey man, you working tonight?
Nope. AM library. What's up?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, just come on in, why don't you?
Can I borrow this?
What, my D4 comic? Hell no, I'm reading it.
You're not reading it right now. I'll trade you the sandwich.
That's a horrible trade. And get that out of my room. Get mustard swill on the floor.
Fair enough. Hey, did you get that email from Derringer?
What email?
Check it out.
Derringer email. No, I don't see anything here.
Right on. I guess he didn't CC you. Anyway, I'll get out of your hair. Later.
Later. Oh, damn it. Took my comic.
Well, that wasn't a reference I was expecting to see here. D4 deserved better than what happened to it, frankly, but at least its characterful developer has landed on its feet since then.
Keep digging.
All of these must be taken down. Especially this one. What a vulgar display.
It's just a poster.
It celebrates a behavior the overseer resolutely prohibits.
It's a liquor advertisement. Derringer lets me have it up.
Derringer does not make the rules. He merely enforces them. Poorly, I may add.
I'm keeping it.
Do not test me.
It's my identity.
You have no identity! You have been misinformed. You have no personality we care to know. No name we care to speak. In time you may earn these things. But for now, you remain a blank canvas, as do these walls.
I really hate that woman.
Well?
Fabulous. Let's get to work. We'll have you to the surface in no time. This one should go quickly, as you're now well versed in the language of character assassination. A Prizrak attacked Mireille. Make me believe it was this one. A Prizrak with a taser, hardly shocking, but maybe we can turn it into a smoking gun. Frankly, I never liked Mireille, and I'm glad someone knocked her down a peg. But as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. Or in our case, unpublished.
There's only one solution here and no colour commentary, so let's just get on with it.
Mireille Prideaux's attacker called red-handed. Well, perhaps not red-handed, but soon enough anyway.
Now, I'm not about to set out to insult the intelligence of either the developers or any of my viewers, so I'm going to choose this next comment carefully. It is very possible to guess more or less everything that's going to happen in the course of the closing cutscene of episode 3. On which note, we're basically there. We've found all the things, we've collected all the tapes even though we haven't heard them, and we've scanned all the stuff. All that's really left is to just walk to the end.
Head back to Sanctuary and grab a pair of front row seats. I'm calling this one into Derringer personally. Expect the arrest to go down any minute. Derringer will be here any second. Get in the vent and wait for the Prizrak to get dragged away kicking and screaming.
Breaking news. This is Matty Sade with the Morning Bell Online Edition. The Prizrak responsible for the shocking attack on Mireille Prideaux earlier tonight has been discovered. His identity will be withheld until the proper authorities have him in custody. But rest assured, this menace has been found. We demand swift and decisive justice for Ms. Prideaux.
She does work quickly. Anyway, this being the point of no return, let's do the needful. Oh, right. Gunpoint is a nifty stealth puzzle game with some inventive hacking mechanics, I think. Oh, I haven't played this one at all, but given its box art, I am 99% sure that it started life as a mobile game. Ah, this one I know. Broken Age and A Double Fine Adventure wasn't quite the original Kickstarter video game success story, but given the fact that it set a funding record at the time, it probably was most people's first big encounter. It turned out pretty well. I think I read about this one on Rock Paper Shotgun. I've always meant to play it, but never did. Man, I'm really not as good at this as Cooper was. Well, fortunately our book reviews are still here.
War troubles the heart and mind, librarian. Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5 would use the trappings of time travel to torment both. We must care for those who have no business knowing about wars past. That this rings true for wars present goes without saying. Consider how the Japanese omit World War II atrocities from their textbooks. Consider Barack Obama's refusal to even acknowledge the culprits of the United States financial crisis. People don't care when you show them the truth. This is all the more reason to deprive them of it at the start.
I can't help but think that this diegetic hot take would be a lot more biting today in 2018 than it was in 2014. He's right at one count. People do have a terrible memory for their own country's wartime atrocities. I should know, I'm British.
Wright's native son is the spitting image of Twain's Huckleberry Finn, reveling in the same societal failures from within the black perspective rather than from outside. The book does not lie. Social corruption leads to moral compromise. We cannot let the citizens of our fine nation imagine an alternative to the superior mold that we provide. They are our natives, not rights.
Who other than Treglazov could possibly think that you could solve systemic racism simply by not telling people about it?
Okay, vent.
Well, we can't put this off any longer.
I understand, but it doesn't do us a whole lot of good now. Shut the siren off already. I can't hear myself think. Is everyone out to ruin me? Oh, you got to be kidding.
What are you waiting for? Now's your chance! Go!
Did you know? Did you know?
Hope asks a pretty good question. Did you know? Honestly, I could put the same question to a lot of you. I imagine some of you will have seen that coming and some of you will not. There's an art in game narrative, hell, in all narrative, to accounting for all possible perspectives of the player or watcher or reader. And we all love a good mystery, which properly foreshadows all of its twists, and you can go back and read or watch or play a second time and revel in how much of the foreshadowing you can see this time. This wasn't quite that, but it should probably be noted that the game does an admirable job of making this reveal work differently, based on whether or not you see it coming. It's almost the same kind of focus as in the maybe not quite moral dilemma back in episode 2, in which there's a tension between what we know and what we're willing to tell Hope. Maybe the perspective is that we saw this coming, but we had Hope go through with it anyway because we just wanted to get her out. Or maybe we didn't see this coming, and she's not being fair to us, and we're just as blindsided as she is. It's, like, honestly kind of admirable.
I give up. I give up.
I suppose it should be admitted that back when I first played this game, back in 2016 when I was younger and stupider and certainly not nearly as practiced at making sensible Let's Play decisions as I am today, that I did not see this reveal coming at all. Like, I looked right at all of these pieces and I just failed to connect them. And even then, confronted as I was with the enormity of my failure, I still couldn't help but notice how obvious it was in retrospect. How I could recall all of the things that I had missed and failed to connect in perfect clarity. And frankly, that just made it feel worse. And honestly, I think that's good and correct. I think that's how you should handle narrative twists in games that aren't the kind that will sit around and wait for you to figure out a mystery, like your Phoenix Wrights and your Danganronpa, whatever. This is the way you do it. You can't sit and wait for the player to figure things out, and you can't rely on them having done it, or you can't rely on them not having done it. So you just have to account for both possibilities and write a twist and a narrative presentation that works, admittedly differently, based on whether or not they figured it out. That's just, like, writing, man. This game does it. It accounts for all that stuff, and I think that should be observed and commended. And I think we should see it more often.
I'm walking to you now. Are you there?
Not quite. But let it keep more time. We shouldn't be talking about what, over?
I agree. But then I don't have my phone, do I? As if it wasn't enough to tase me, you had to give the pre-cal my only means of communication.
Technically, I didn't give it to them. Over.
Technically, you're an over.
I had to jam. Where is he anyway?
How would I know? I was unconscious.
Stay on this channel. I'll see you at 2. Over and out.
What's your step?
Ah, shit, forgot to silence my phone. Sorry. Anyway, that was episode 3, and that sure was a hell of a thing. If we hit the next episode button at this point, we're given this very ominous warning, suggesting that this is a point of no return. And in the grand tradition of this game, that statement is both the absolute truth and an outright fabrication. I'm sure I'll get around to explaining how this can be in a later episode. See ya!